Today, we're discussing fall damage for 7 Days to Die. Now, we've got a lot of info to cover and no time to waste, so let's get to it. Has this ever happened to you? You've just finished up clearing a POI, you've gotten all the main loot, you're sitting on the roof looking for an easy way down when you stray just a little too far, and boom, you fall and break your leg. Or you find some sneaky loot out on a ledge, go ahead and loot up the loot, and oops, you accidentally stray a little too far and fall off that ledge. There are many scenarios in which something like this could occur. And let's face it, folks, they all suck. There are few things in this game as bad as having a broken leg. And one of the easiest ways to break your leg is by falling. So today we're going to take a closer look at fall damage. We're going to see what heights at which it's okay, it's safe to drop down from, and at which heights it starts to become not so okay. We're going to take a look at exactly how high you actually start getting a chance to sprain and break your leg, and how high you can safely fall without dying. We're also going to take a look at a few things that can minimize fall damage as well. But first, we're going to start with your basic fall damage. When exactly do you start taking damage? Well, let's head back to the Saven's World testing grounds and we will find out. So let's take a look at this monstrosity that I have built in order to test fall damage. We start over here on the left side. You'll notice I have it numbered 1 through 10. It actually goes up 1 to 20. And then from there we go up 30, 40, 50, and all the way up to 100. So that is how many blocks high each of these rows is. So we start at 1, and the last one at the very end goes all the way up to 100 blocks high. So the way we're going to test this is we are going to jump off, or not, we're not going to jump off, we're going to walk off at the various heights. So the first thing we want to test is, where do you start taking fall damage? What height do you start taking fall damage from? And the answer to that question is right here, block number 7. This is where you will start to take fall damage. When you fall from at least 7 blocks high, you will start to take damage. So let's go ahead and get on up to the top here. We're going to place ourselves right here, and let me show you how this works. We're just going to step right off the edge, and boom, there we go. We took 4 points of damage. Anything below 7 blocks and you are safe, you shouldn't take fall damage. But once you reach 7 blocks high, you will start to take fall damage. Now, one thing to keep in mind, my character is completely naked. Well, almost naked, but no clothes on, no armor on whatsoever. This is just a baseline test of the fall damage mechanic itself. Later on in the video, we are going to test what items will reduce fall damage and if things like armor can protect you a little bit. But for now, we're just starting with the baseline damage, and your baseline is 7 blocks high. Once you reach 7 blocks, you will start taking fall damage. Now, at height 7, you will take anywhere from 4 to 5 points of damage. I've run this test many times, and most of the time, you take 5 points of damage. We just got lucky on that last one and took 4, but generally speaking, you'll take about 5 points of damage. So next up, what we're going to do is bump it up to 8 blocks high. So let's go ahead and get up there. And we'll place ourselves down and walk right off of the edge, and we'll see how much damage we take at 8 blocks. Boom, we took 10 points of damage. We didn't break or sprain our leg, which is nice, but we did take 10 points of damage. So fall damage sucks, but what sucks even more is when you sprain and break your leg. So at what level do you start to have a chance to sprain and break your leg? The answer to that question is 9 blocks high. We saw on the previous test, 7 and 8, I fell off fine, no broken legs, just took some fall damage. However, once you start reaching 9 blocks high, you have a significant chance to start spraining and breaking your leg. It's not 100% chance, but you do have a good chance. So let's go ahead and get up here. We're going to plop ourselves on top of block number 9, turn around, and walk off the edge, and see, there you go. Sprained leg from block number 9. Now, throughout my testing on this, I have found that you do have a much higher chance to sprain your leg than you do to break your leg at 9 blocks high. However, this is the point where you really have a high chance to start injuring your leg. So not only are you taking the fall damage, but you're also getting that sprained or broken leg as well. So now let's move on to 10 blocks high and see what that does. So I've set myself on top of my little structure here. We are 10 blocks high. Let's go ahead and walk off the edge, and boom, Broken leg on 10 blocks high. So 10 blocks high, you have a much higher chance to break your leg. In fact, I've run this test about 20 times, and I think I've broken my leg about 15 times out of the 20, falling off of the 10 block high mark. You have a very high chance to break your leg off of 10 blocks high. So the sprained and broken legs start at 9. You have a much higher chance to sprain your leg than break your leg at 9. But once you get to the 10 block high, you have a very high chance of breaking your leg. So now let's take this to the next level. Let's go ahead and put ourselves 20 blocks up in the air. We'll step off and see how much damage we do here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are 20 blocks up in the air. I'm going to go ahead and walk off the edge, and we will see how much damage we take. So here we go. Boom, ouch, broken leg, and there you go. So we have taken 50 points of damage and broken our leg. So let's bump it up a notch and see what happens at 30 blocks high. So here is the 30 block mark. Let's go ahead and set ourselves on top of that. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we are 30 blocks up in the air. I'm going to go ahead and walk off the edge, and we're going to see what happens. Here we go. Ow, boom, there you go, ouch. We took 76 points of damage. Next up, we have 40 blocks high. So we're gonna go up 40 blocks in the air, set ourselves on top, walk off the edge, and see how much damage we take. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. 40 blocks high. Let's see how much damage we take. Stepping off the edge, and ow. 96 points of damage. Now this fall damage is really starting to pile up. Once again, we broke our leg and took a crap ton of damage. Next up is 50 blocks high. We're gonna fall 50 blocks straight down and see how much damage we take. 50 blocks up in the air. This is not going to be fun, but let's see what happens. Here we go. Stepping off the edge, and oh man, 113 points of damage with a broken leg. And the last basic test we're gonna do is the big guy, 100 blocks. We're gonna perch ourselves 100 blocks high, walk off the edge, plummet straight down, and pray that we don't die. So first up, let's get up to the top. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, 100 blocks up in the air. This is not going to tickle. I'm just hoping that we don't die. Let's step off the edge and keep our fingers crossed. Here we go. And down we go. We're falling, and oh man, oh boy, it does not get any closer than that. Holy cow, 185 points of damage with a broken leg. I'm gonna go ahead and hit that God mode button and heal up just so I don't accidentally die while I'm yapping. But there you go, guys, 185 points of damage with a broken leg falling from 100 blocks high. So let's go over some of the things we've learned so far. First, you do not start taking fall damage until you get to 7 blocks high in the air. As long as you are 6 blocks or below, you will not take fall damage. Once you get 7 blocks in the air, however, you will start taking fall damage. Once you reach 9 blocks in the air, you also have the chance to sprain or break your leg. And once you reach 10 blocks high, you will break your leg almost every single time. But now we're going to take a look at some things that may alter or mitigate that fall damage. The first thing we're going to test is armor. Will armor mitigate any of that fall damage? We are about to find out. Now you'll also notice that I do not have the impact bracing mod in my armor yet. That will be another test coming up here in just a second. So for this test, I think we're going to start at the very end. We're going to start at block 7 where we know we'll start taking damage. Then we're going to go all the way up to block 100. I won't run every single test for every single variation since we already have our baseline intact. We know that we start taking damage at 7, so let's start there. So here we are, block 7. Let's get on up to the top, place ourselves down, turn around, and we're going to walk off the edge and see how much damage we take. And there you go, guys, 5 points of damage. So it did not mitigate any of the damage from level 7. So now let's test the big boy. We're going to go up 100 blocks in the air, step off the edge, and see if that mitigates any of that fall damage. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are 100 blocks up in the air. We're going to step off the edge. We have our full set of steel armor, and Boom! Oh, man. Oh, every time. It gets me every time. So there you go, guys. Armor does not mitigate fall damage at all. One thing that does mitigate fall damage, however, is the impact bracing mod. And that's the next thing we're going to test. So I went ahead and installed the impact bracing mod into my boots, and we're going to see how much damage this will actually mitigate. Once again, we're going to start at block 7. So let's go ahead and get on top of block 7 here. We're now 7 blocks up in the air. We're going to walk off the edge. And there you go. We didn't take any damage at block 7. We should have taken 4 to 5 points of damage, but because we have that impact bracing mod, we did not take any damage. And next, let's test the impact bracing mod after falling from 100 blocks up. So let's go ahead and get up there. And we are at the top. 100 blocks high in the air. Let's go ahead and step off the edge. Falling down, falling down. Oh, I hate this every time. Ooh, oh, man. Oh, boy. So that only mitigated 6 damage points, guys. 6 damage points with the impact bracing mod. So falling from big heights, it's not going to do much for you. Falling from lower heights, it will mitigate some damage, but you still have that chance of breaking your leg and spraining your leg, which really, really sucks. The impact bracing mod is not the most effective item in the game when it comes to mitigating fall damage. It will do some, just not much. The next item we're going to take a look at is parkour. This is an awesome perk that I highly recommend. So each level of parkour will increase your safe fall distance. Level 1 increases it by 1. Level 2 increases it by 2. Level 3 increases it by 4. And if you get it maxed out, it will increase your safe fall distance by 5 meters. Not only that, but level 4 also completely removes your ability to sprain or break your leg when falling. That is absolutely amazing. So what we're going to do is actually test this at the max level. I'm not going to run a test for everything. We're going to max it out, and we're going to run a couple of these tests and see how good the parkour perk actually is at mitigating fall damage. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are parkour masters. That means we can jump higher, we can fall from higher distances safely, and we will never break or sprain our leg when falling. So we're going to start right here on block 7. Now, we know that we should be able to fall off of this no problem, because this is where you normally start taking damage. However, we should be able to go 5 blocks higher without taking any damage. So just to show that this is in fact the case, here's 7 blocks. Boom, we fall down, no damage taken whatsoever. So let's go ahead and move it right along to 12 blocks high. Since we should be able to safely fall 5 blocks higher, let's go ahead and put ourselves on block number 12 and see what that gets us. So we are now 12 blocks high in the air. We're gonna step off the edge, and there you go, we take 3 points of damage. So instead of starting to take damage at block number 7, you start taking fall damage at 12 blocks high. But once again, because we cannot sprain or break our leg, that is all we take, is just the fall damage. And you'll notice for my character here, I did take off my armor. This is just the parkour perk alone. So let's bump it up to the 100 block point. I'm gonna go ahead and place myself 100 blocks in the air with the parkour perk maxed out, and we're gonna see how much damage we take. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. 100 blocks in the air. Let's take a step off. Down we go. Okay. Oh, man. Not bad. So we only took 163 points of damage. So the parkour perk did save us from a roughly 22 points of damage. Also, it saved us from having a broken leg, which we definitely would have had without parkour. The next item that can help you with fall damage is the Great Heist Volume 5. This will give you the Adrenaline Fall perk, which means you can fall up to 15 meters without taking damage while carrying 5,000 dukes or more. So I've got my 5,000 dukes on me. We're gonna go ahead and read the Great Heist. There we go, which means we should be able to fall from this 15 block high area and not take any damage. But there's only one way to find out. Let's move on up to the top, turn around, step on off, and let's see what happens. Here we go. Down we go, and there you go, guys. 15 blocks straight down, no fall damage. So naturally, we're going to move over to block number 16. Let's get up to block number 16 and see if we start taking damage. 16 blocks up in the air, here we go. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. 16 blocks up, we did take fall damage. So that Great Heist book is awesome, because typically speaking, the only time that you're going to be falling from any higher than 15 blocks high is if you are in one of the major towers, one of the tier 5 POIs, or something like Higashi Pharmaceutical or Dishong Tower. You could easily fall more than 15 blocks if you're in one of those buildings, but typically speaking, most POIs in this game are not more than 15 blocks high. So that's a great book to find to save yourself a whole lot of fall damage. Another thing I wanted to point out, not only did we take no fall damage, but we also did not break or sprain our leg. So with that book, this pretty much sets it back down to the starting point for taking damage. So just to test that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bump it up to, let's go to block 18 here. Let's get ourselves to the top of block 18, and we're going to see if we by chance start breaking or spraining our leg. So here we go, off the edge. Let's see what happens. There you go, sprained leg. So pretty much the way that works, guys, this book makes block 15 your starting block. So, you know, normally you start at 7. Blocks 7 and 8, you will definitely take damage. Blocks 9 and 10, you will start breaking and spraining your leg. With that book, you start taking damage at blocks 16 and 17, and have the chance to sprain and break your leg starting at block 18. But let's see what happens when we are 100 blocks in the air. So I'm going to put myself on top of the 100 block section here. We're going to fall 100 blocks straight down and see what that book does to the fall damage we take. And here we are, 100 blocks in the air. Let's see what happens. Off we go, down we go, falling, falling. Ouch! We did break our legs and take 151 points of damage. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so let's try one more thing. We're actually going to wrap all of these tests up into one. We're gonna combine everything. So I've got my character fully decked out. I have my impact bracing mod in my boots. I've read the book with 5,000 Duke's Casino tokens on me. And of course, I am a parkour master. So let's start running some tests with this setup. We're gonna see how much fall damage we take now. Now, since we've read the Great Heist 5, that means that we can fall from 15 blocks, no problem. However, parkour gives us an additional 5. So what I wanna do is start our tests at block 20. Will we actually be able to safely fall 20 blocks high? Or does the parkour perk not work in tandem with the Great Heist book? Let's find out. So we're going to go up and park ourselves 20 blocks high. There we go. So we are 20 blocks up in the air. Will parkour work hand in hand with the Great Heist? Let's find out. Let's step off the edge and see what happens. Here we go. And look at that, ladies and gentlemen. 20 blocks in the air, no fall damage whatsoever. That is awesome. So not only does the Great Heist book allow us to drop from 15 blocks with no fall damage, it works in tandem, it works in cooperation with the parkour perk, giving us an additional 5. That is amazing. So now for the big boy, 100 blocks in the air, fully decked out with everything that will mitigate damage, fall damage. Let's get up there and see how this goes. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are 100 blocks in the air. I have a full suit of armor on with the impact bracing mod. We have read the Great Heist Volume 5 with 5,000 Dukes in our inventory, and we are parkour masters. Let's see how this goes. Here we go. And we are falling, falling, falling. Boom. Ooh. All right, so we did still take a lot of damage, 123 points of damage, but nowhere near as bad as it was with our initial test. Remember, our initial test, it was 185 points of damage with a broken leg. This is a much better outcome for sure. Some very interesting results to today's tests. So it looks like you start taking fall damage at 7 blocks high. At around block 9, you start adding in the chance to sprain or break your leg. Anything 10 blocks or higher, you will almost always break your leg. However, there are ways to mitigate fall damage. The parkour perk is probably my favorite, because by maxing it out, not only do you gain an additional 5 blocks to your safe fall damage height, you also completely remove the ability to sprain or break your leg. That is awesome. And another great thing about the parkour perk is that it works hand in hand with the Great Heist Volume 5. This book allows you to safely fall from 15 blocks up with no fall damage, as long as you have 5,000 dukes in your inventory, but you can add the extra 5 blocks from parkour on top of that, giving you a total of 20 blocks that you can fall from without taking damage. The impact bracing mod will reduce the damage a little bit, although it is not very effective. It doesn't reduce it by much. Now, for those of you that may be asking if the material you fall on has any effect on the amount of damage you take, the answer to that question is no. I've run this test multiple times on different types of ground. I've done it on forest ground, I've done it on desert ground, I did it on steel blocks, I've done it on concrete blocks and asphalt, I've done it on wood, I've done it on pretty much every single material you can think of, and the results were the same every single time. However, I will point out that I am doing this as a straight fall test. I did not jump, I walked off the edge and fell straight down. If you were to jump, or if you were to accelerate as you went off the edge of whatever you're falling off of, that can actually increase the damage. One more thing that I thought it important to cover is that there are actually a couple of other ways that you can mitigate fall damage. The first is by using hay bales, and the second is by utilizing water. And of course, you can use the oh shits drops to completely become immune from fall damage for a short period of time. Now, I did not cover those methods in this video, but if you folks would like to see a video on how to utilize these items, just leave me a comment below letting me know that that is something you are interested in. Now, if you found this video helpful and or enjoyable, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But for now, this is Saven saying thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me in Saven's World. And remember, the average gamer is always king of the hill on the bell curve.